Good morning, everyone down on Facebook. Like my Good Friday experience was come inside, Jesus is dying on the cross, we have to go to church soon. That was kind of my memory growing up of the Holy Week. But what I realize now is that there's this story that's progressing. There's this story that's playing out in the scriptures. Yesterday we heard the betrayal story of Jesus in the Gospel of John. Today we hear about the betrayal in the Gospel of Matthew. And I think that is super powerful to be able to hear this important aspect of how Jesus was so wounded through not just the assault, the blows of the crucifixion, but really this betrayal, this friendship, first. I was reading Father Burke this morning. He called him the first round picks, as he's the baseball priest. He was talking about this idea that Judas has walked with them all along. And what was he portrayed for? He was really betrayed with 30 pieces of silver. And I was thinking this morning and praying about in my own life, like what is it worth? What is my faith worth to me? What are the situations in my life that maybe I've betrayed something or lost somebody's confidence, or for what, for a moment of glory? Was it, what are these situations? And we look at the difference between Judas and Peter, right? Peter denies, we heard this earlier this week. We talked about Peter denied Jesus 3 times. And, and Jesus even tells him that this is going to happen. And how this story just so comes alive when you walk in those places where Jesus walked and see firsthand the Garden of Gethsemane, and where that would be located in light of this beautiful drama, this beautiful story that takes place of our salvation history. So as we think about our own life, I think the temptation sometimes is to turn to despair, right? Me, oh me, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I got myself in this pit. My kid is in a pit, whatever that situation is. And I think that we could always hold this situation in the back of our mind between the response between Judas and Peter, right? Peter was able to be reconciled, actually ultimately went on to lead the church and was forgiven. And I think that is something that we need to hold very close to our own hearts. We have to be willing to first forgive ourselves for our shortcomings and really forgive others. So if there is something that is just weighing heavy on your heart, pick up the phone today, seek to reconcile, write a letter, just say, in light of Holy Week, I just want to say that I'm sorry for these past hurts, and can we work on this relationship? You will have a much better Easter, because all the Easter candy in the world cannot fill a broken heart, right? And we might not be able to solve our problems. We might not be able to, reconcile a friendship to the way it once was, but we definitely can give it to God and discover the peace that He has to offer. And I think I was reading Isaiah again this morning, and he was talking about, the importance of giving words to the weary. And that's what Jesus does throughout the Gospels, right? He tells us not to be afraid. He tells us these beautiful words of comfort, these words of instruction, these words that can help us. And that's what we ultimately need to cling to when we're going through a difficult time, when that storm is hitting our own life. And as we're watching and reading and leading up to Easter, there's so much that takes place in these few short days. So it's carve some time out. I love my morning crew. We've sure. I hope you feel like you've created more time in your life, that more meaningful time, more time to have some respite. Maybe have that morning cup of coffee and say your morning prayers, whatever that is. But carve out that special time, and hopefully you just have a fantastic day. Don't get too overwhelmed by the Easter preparations, what the bunny needs to do, but instead, focus on what are the areas of my life that I need to strive to make change so that that change can lead to more peace, to more, be able to enter in more deeply and ultimately experience the freedom that we're called to experience. So may you just have a fantastic day. And I cheers my morning coffee to each one of you. Thanks so much for joining me. Cheers.